G'day and welcome to ReDriven. Now, with a stonking big powerful engine up front and rear-wheel drive all wrapped in a stylish practical 5-door body shell, the Kia Stinger seems like the obvious successor to the Holden Commodore and Ford Falcon here in Australia, now that those cars have been put out to pasture. And the thing is, they also make many of their European rivals a bit nervous. But the thing is, see, many people out there can't get past the fact that these are just a Kia because, Kias of old were just a bit crap. So many people assume that, yes, these are great when they're new, but when they're secondhand and used, do they just get a bit crap and start falling apart? What actually goes wrong with them? What do they like to live with on a daily basis? What do they cost to own and operate? Most importantly, but should you buy one? Let's find out. Now, before we get deep into the Stinger, I should mention that in this video, we're going to be focusing on the Australian variants of the Kia Stinger. But if you're not from Australia or not watching this from here, don't fret or panic because everything we're going to be going over, it should relate to Stingers in your local market. Also, to keep this video as objective as we possibly could, we've reached out to multiple Kia owners groups, Stinger owners groups. We've spoken to Kia specialist technicians. We've trawled through what feels like hours of customer survey reports and reliability surveys and forums, all that sort of stuff. So this video, it's the culmination of all of that information. Now, the Stinger arrived here in Australia in 2017, primarily in 3 different trim grades with 2 different engine choices and a smattering of special editions just to make things spicy. And also it has received a couple of upgrades during its life cycle. But for more of an overview of all this, here's me doing a voiceover.
Let's start with the engines. You can have a 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder or a 3.3-litre bi-turbo V6, both mated to 8-speed automatics and both sending all of their horses to the rear wheels.
But we missed out on the all-wheel drive version. We didn't get it. Sucks.
In terms of the trim specs, initially the range was made up of the base model S, which comes in either the 4-cylinder 200 or 6-cylinder 330 designations, then the mid-spec SI, which was also available as a 200 or a 330.
Although these two were dropped from the range in 2019.
And finally, the top of the range offerings, the GT line powered by the 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder and the full-fat GT, obviously with the 3.3-litre bi-turbo V6 under the bonnet. Kia hasn't been backward in providing a few special editions as well, with the Rafa Signature Edition launching in 2017, the Carbon Edition being revealed in 2019, and a Night Sky Edition in 2020. Updates-wise, in 2020, the Stinger received a facelift which revised the exterior styling, featuring new headlights and taillights, a redesigned rear diffuser, some new colours and new wheel design options. Elsewhere, and depending on the spec, the touch screen increased in size, the levels of standard safety equipment and tech were increased, while mechanical improvements, again depending on the spec, could include bigger Brembo brakes, a rear diff and a bimodal exhaust system to sound that bit fruitier.
And look, we'd love to go into every specific detail of every model and variant and upgrade in this video, but it'd just take hours and it would get really boring. So instead of doing that, we've gathered all of that information and we've put it in our very handy and completely free ReDriven cheat sheets.
Our cheat sheets are invaluable as they provide a full breakdown of the car's model range, its common problems, what you need to look out for before handing over your hard-earned cash, how much of that cash you should be handing over, and so much more. Check it out at redriven.com or in the link below.
Now look, if you're already a Kia Stinger expert or you own a Kia Stinger and you've noticed in this video that we've missed something massive, please let us know in the comments. We're obviously going to do our best to cover as much as we can about the car, but yeah, look guys, if we've missed anything major, chuck it in the comments. Okay, so how's the exterior? Well, from a design aspect, I personally bloody love the way these look. They are a little bit, I think they're a little bit wheel reliant, like on the lower spec models, like on the S, they've got this smaller wheel and I feel it can look a little bit underwheeled, but with the larger alloys, lovely. Actually, speaking of design, one of the problems that the Stinger has is that because it's a Kia, some brand snobs out there, they couldn't possibly be seen driving a Kia because they have to drive something European, like say an Audi. But the interesting thing is, this car was designed by Peter Schreier. Now, before he was the head honcho at Kia, he used to be one of the head designers at Audi, and he most notably designed the Audi TT. Interesting. Anyway, what do you guys think of the looks? Let us know in the comments. Also, in terms of design, these did receive a very subtle facelift just recently. When I say subtle, barely anything changed. Although the rear light treatment changed, I personally love the way it looks. Well done, Kia. But fake air vents. Boo! Okay, what to watch out for in terms of the exterior? You know what? It's actually pretty good news. See, because like these are a performance car and they will happily exit a corner sideways, apparently, don't know that from experience at all. The thing is, most of the owners of these are a little bit more mature in age, so therefore a little bit more responsible. So yeah, accident damage is pretty rare. And even then, on the off chance that it has had an accident, because the owners are generally pretty financially sorted, the repairs should have been done under insurance and to the highest possible quality. When we were doing the research on these, we found it near impossible to find any stories of these being repaired in someone's backyard with a spray can. But in saying that, make sure you check out the wheels and tyres. Number one, the wheels for any signs of gutter rash. Look, some light gutter rash is no big deal. It's pretty easily fixed and it can kind of be expected. But if you see any big chunks out of the wheels or any chunks out of the tyres, that's not a good sign. Next up, check the wear pattern on the tyres. If the pattern's like all over the shop, like it's really worn on the inside but not on the outside, it means either the car needs a wheel alignment or at worst, it might even have some suspension damage. Also, make sure you check out the rear tyres. If the tyres here are pretty bald and you find chunks of rubber up under here under the wheel arch, guess which Stinger likes doing burnouts? Also, speaking of tyres, guys, this is a performance car and it will only work at its best when it's on really high quality premium performance tyres. So if you're looking at one of these and the tyres are some, budget no-name brand or they're all mismatched, it shows that the owner's cutting corners. Where else is that owner cutting corners on the car? Now, in terms of common issues and problems with these, we're going to be covering those in a moment. Okay, so how's the interior? Well, you know what? It was pretty bloody lovely when it was new, and it's still pretty bloody lovely now. Design-wise, it's all very smart. Like all the touch points, there's loads of lovely squidge everywhere. You can tell that Kia have borrowed some design aspects from other cars. Like this is quite Mercedes up here. This has got a bit of an Audi vibe here, and these are kind of a bit Porsche. That's not a bad thing. Now, normally in the Stinger, there are a few little design details that they're not negatives, but they can let it down just a little bit. But the owner of this car has fixed those things. Firstly, the center cap in the steering wheel, that's normally got a Kia badge. This has got like an aftermarket GT badge, and I think that looks heaps classier. In here, there's some Stinger little, door inserts, handle inserts. They look fantastic. And the shift paddles as well, just smarten things up a little bit. So in the normal Stinger GT, they can look not cheap and nasty, but this just classes it up just enough. Ergonomics wise, spot on. There's loads of adjustment in the seat and in the steering wheel. Everything is easy to get to, ergonomics on point. Now, as far as wear and tear goes, this car is this owner's everyday driver. And you know what? You could never tell. Like, everything feels great. The leather on the steering wheel still feels really nice. Door cards feel great. Even like, this plastic or, semi-metal stuff down here. There's a couple little tiny scratches, but nothing bad at all. The leather on the seats still feels supple and nice. It feels like a new car. Also, these floor mats, like what a way to make a car feel super classy by putting a leather kind of floor mat in it. These are fantastic. Okay, in the back seat, I'm exactly 3 centimeters taller than Kia ambassador and tennis legend Rafael Nadal. This is in my driving position, and room-wise, it's good. Like heaps of knee room, heaps of shoulder room, even though like I'm that height. Like my head's just touching on the roof, but it's not too bad. But yeah, toes are a little bit squished. I do have large feet, but as far as wear and tear in this back seat, what wear and tear? None. It honestly, it feels like a brand new car. It even kind of smells like a brand new car. So how's the tech? Well, look, even from launch, these things were fantastic with tech because Kia generally like to fit their cars with loads of goodies from the factory. But for an overview of what tech it has, here's me doing another voiceover.
Even early base model Stingers will include a 6-speaker stereo, 2 12-volt power outlets and 2 USB points, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, dual zone climate control, rear air conditioning, Bluetooth connectivity, a rear vision camera, selectable driving modes, electronically adjustable driver's seat, paddle shifters, sat-nav, keyless entry, launch control, a multifunction touchscreen, multifunction steering wheel controls, DAB+ radio, a push-button start trip computer, and voice recognition.
But
later and higher spec models can include heated and ventilated front seats, a colour head-up display, a power sunroof, wireless phone charger, and a 15-speaker Harman Kardon sound system.
I must say that 15-speaker Harman Kardon sound system, it sounds phenomenal. Awesome stereo. But for a full breakdown of which Stinger gets what levels of technology, just jump on ReDriven.com and check out that cheat sheet, or click on the link in the description below. So, is it practical? My God, yes it is. Funny story about this car actually, I had one of these as a press car when they first came out, and my other job besides talking to you guys about cars is playing drums and like DJing in bands and stuff like that. I can tell you, I know that one of these with the seats down can easily fit a full drum kit, half a PA system, and a set of turntables and like lights and leads and all that sort of stuff. Awesome for practicality. Another point on the practicality, and it's something that no one ever really seems to mention about this Stinger, if you're holding the car key and it's locked and you walk up to the back of it, it'll beep 4 times, and then the boot will open. How good's that? That's genius. Why does no one talk about that? In practicality, in the back seat, you've got good sized door bins down here. You've got some little spot for any secrets that you're hoarding up here in the doors. You've got a couple of nets here. You've got your own air vents and some power outlets. And in the armrest, 2 cup holders. And practicality up front in the doors, you've got a spot for life's little secrets here. You've got some door bins there that are perfectly sized for a water bottle. Nice water bottle, that. You've got a spot up here for your phone with wireless charging and some USB and auxiliary points down here. 2 different size cup holders, which is good because one's for me, for little pretentious coffees, and the other one's for normal people that are respectable. There's a storage spot here, there's a storage spot here with a little shelf, and you've got an excellent sized glove box with an owner's manual. It's either the owner's manual or this is Wikipedia in print form. It's huge. Oh, also, spot for your sunnies up there. I think that's it. There's nothing under the seats. I think that's it for practicality up front. Good practicality. Okay, so what goes wrong with these? Look, we're going to get to the mechanical stuff in a second, but let's start with the exterior. Okay, so first up, the paint. In Kia Stingers painted in the limited edition Sunrise Yellow colour, there were 71 of those, that paint was faulty and defective. Out of those owners, about 75% of them had the cars completely resprayed that was covered under Kia's warranty, and the remaining customers either got a full refund or they had a replacement vehicle given to them. But in saying that, there are like some really sporadic reports of other colours also fading. Super rare, not common at all. Now there are reports that this trim piece can blemish and kind of become faulty because of the it's like that transparent blue wrap that goes on cars when they get transported. It's like the epoxy or the glue that's used on the blue wrap can affect that trim piece. The good news is Kia will replace these under warranty, and even then, if they don't, it's pretty easy to fix. Just polish it out. There are some reports that on early model Stingers fitted with the sunroof can get a bit rattly, but again, Kia generally fix this up under warranty. Now, some early model Stingers have reports that the boot and tailgate can rattle. What it generally is this bit here. The problem is the washers on the early ones weren't thick enough. They fixed that on upgrades during the life cycle, but it's super easy fix. Just fit a slightly thicker washer, rattle will stop. Now, the fabulous Brembo brakes have a habit of exuding copious amounts of brake dust, which is just annoying. But the thing is, there are reports that these things, when they've had a whole bunch of hard braking, the brakes can get a bit of a vibration through them, which is annoying. Many owners will actually fit some DBA rotors and DBA pads to stop that. Just don't tell Brembo because they'll get upset. There are a few reports that like gravel and rocks and crap can get caught in this vent here and kind of sit in there, and then when you hit rain or a hose, it can potentially even chip the paintwork. It's a super easy fix, but for about $30 you can buy these little grills. To buy them, there's a link in the description below. Now, as far as common problems and issues inside, look, there's not really many, nothing common as such. There are the odd sporadic reports about squeaks and rattles. We wonder how many of those owners that are complaining just drive around with their suspension in the firmest setting. So obviously, a firm car will create more rattles. We'll find out if this one has any rattles or squeaks in a second when we drive it. A few owners have complained that the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto isn't wireless. It's not really a common fault, it's just more of a first world problem. And also there are the odd sporadic reports that the central locking can kind of play a bit of havoc. But again, this is normally fixed up by Kia under warranty. Common problems inside? Not really. Okay, now before we get into mechanically what can go wrong with these things, I've got to ask a favor. If you're enjoying this video, can you please hit those like, subscribe, and bell icon buttons, and also share ReDriven as much as you can, because the more that you hit those buttons and the more you share ReDriven, the more of these videos we can make for you, and we just want to keep making the best car content we can. So yeah, hit those buttons, that'd be awesome. Okay, so what mechanically goes wrong with the Kia Stinger? Well, see, the thing is, I'm not a mechanic, so I'm not qualified to tell you, but Jim is.
Before we get started, look, apologies for the audio. It's raining here, and no matter how much I try, I still can't control the weather. Being a relatively low volume car, and the fact that all of them we see in the workshop are still under warranty, I had to dig deep into the bowels of dealership, service department and spare parts records to find out what goes wrong with these things. And the good news is, actually not much does go wrong. That's not saying nothing goes wrong. There are a few isolated random issues with the 4-cylinder and the 6-cylinder engines, but really nothing you wouldn't see in any manufacturer. There are some more common issues with the AC systems and the compressors specifically, and there are a few reports of the rear differentials failing. Now, at the moment, that's all covered by warranty, but if you're getting one, those diffs are going to keep failing and they won't be covered by warranty. Another common issue, which in some cases is and isn't covered by warranty, depends on the dealership, is the brake shutter that affects the ones with Brembo brakes. And that's just not the ones that are being used for track days, that's seemingly all of them. Upgraded pads and rotors is the fix there, so if you're looking at one, keep that in mind. And speaking of upgrades, there are a bunch of aftermarket parts available and a heap of tuners out there doing these things. So if you're looking at one that's been modified, make sure the mods have been done properly. Look, if you're looking at one, just make sure it does have a really good service history, and keep in mind they are a performance car, so down the track things are going to go wrong.
Okay, so is it safe? Well, the SI and the GT trim variants were drenched in safety tech right from the start, but the base model S, it missed out on autonomous emergency braking up until 2018 when it was included into it. But look, for an overview of what safety tech that you can expect in the Stinger, here's me doing another voiceover, but this time I'm going to do it in like my best 1990s radio voice.
The Kia Stinger's safety features include 7 airbags, anti-lock braking with emergency brake force distribution and brake assist, electronic stability control and traction control, vehicle stability management, a rear view camera with dynamic parking guidelines, rear cross traffic alert, LED daytime running lights and 3 child restraint points, while advanced smart cruise control and autonomous emergency braking with forward collision warning, lane keeping assist, driver attention alert, front parking sensors and rain sensing wipers were available on higher spec models.
Again, for all of the details of which Stinger gets what safety tech, just jump on ReDriven.com and check out that cheat sheet. Okay, so what's it like to drive? Well, look, obviously we're not going to be delving deep into the performance abilities of this thing because we're driving around Sydney and that would be just dangerous. But one of the things that I think annoys me about many of this car's European competitors is that around town at normal speeds, they can just feel a bit normal, so much so that they become a bit boring. But this, even when used, the thing I love about the driving experience is that it just feels involving all the time. Like it feels fun and engaging and like it's special all the time. But then at the same time, put it in comfort mode and it's exactly that. It is comfortable. Comfortable, it's on the firm side of comfortable, but it's still comfortable. Actually, expanding on the driving modes, this car's driving modes, they do genuinely make a difference. This particular car's owner, and I completely agree, if you customize it all into sport but leave the suspension in the comfortable setting, bang on. Like sport mode tightens everything up, it even brings the bolsters on the seats into your ribs, which is nice. But the sport suspension, for me, it's just a bit too firm for Aussie roads. It's not like harsh or crashy at all, just a bit firm for our crap roads. Now, there are a few reports that the interiors of the Stinger can get a bit squeaky and rattly, but this one, and we've been over some bumps, not a thing. It sounds as tight as a drum. Also, like, it's a decent sized car, but it never feels too big. It's really easy to place. Vision out of it's fantastic. It never feels like intimidatingly large. Now look, even though these Stinger GTs or any of the Stingers with the V6 engine are bloody rapid standard, they do respond incredibly well to some massaging of the ECU. They handle even better with some really nice suspension, and they can sound brilliant with an aftermarket exhaust. And the name that kept popping up when we were doing the research for this video was a guy called Tristan, and he's from Cherry Tuning and Performance here in Sydney. If you have any performance needs for a Kia or a Hyundai, just click on the link in the description below. Okay, so overall, what is it like to drive? Well, look, the thing is, I've had almost endless arguments with some of my car journalist mates that criticise the Stinger for, lacking in the very fine steering nuance and chassis balance, just, when you're right on the limit, when you're right on the edge of adhesion. Piss off, stop being a wanker, you dickhead. The only time that you should be driving that fast to feel that kind of nuance and feedback at that speed is on a racetrack. And this thing is clearly and was never designed to be a track car. It's a big, practical, rear-wheel drive Korean muscle car, and it still does exactly what's written on the box perfectly. Pricing here in Australia kicks off from around about $40,000, and thanks to the current inflated used car market, pricing tops out at around about $80,000. Something like this, a 2019 GT in phenomenal condition with just over 20,000 Ks on the clock, you're going to be looking at north of $60,000, which is potentially more than what it cost when it was brand new. And that's really interesting because I have a friend of mine that owns one of these, and when he was buying it, he was tossing up between buying the Stinger or buying an Audi A5 45 TFSI, which when it was new was $20,000 more than the Stinger, yet it has less power, less torque, less standard equipment, a shorter warranty, and more expensive running costs. But while the Stinger has basically retained all of its value even when used, in some cases have actually gained value when it's used, the same year Audi with the same kind of kilometres in like similar condition has lost nearly $20,000 in value, because you can buy an A5 45 TFSI for the same price as one of these, but it's just going to keep losing value. Is the Stinger going to keep going up in value? Who knows? Anyway, for pricing elsewhere on this little planet of ours, here's a graphic. Kia claim a fuel consumption figure of 8.8 or 10.2 litres per 100 kilometres, obviously depending on being a 4-cylinder or a 6-cylinder. Therefore, this is obviously claimed at 10.2 litres per 100 Ks, but it's seeing 11.5, which isn't too bad considering the owner has quite a heavy right foot. Kia offer a fantastic 7-year unlimited kilometre warranty on all Stingers, and that means that even the early ones of these are still covered under some factory support. Kia offer a fantastic 7-year unlimited kilometre warranty on all Kia Stingers, meaning that even the early ones of these are still covered under some factory support, and servicing is recommended at every 12 months or 10,000 Ks. Also, if you're looking at buying one of these or you already own one of these, make sure you join one of the owners groups. We joined a bunch of owners groups to do the research on this, and they have been phenomenal with advice and support and assistance. So if you're buying one, make sure you join an owners group. Owners groups, you guys are legends. Okay, so should you buy one? Well, look, the thing is, if you want a car this size for this kind of budget with this level of practicality, with a powerful engine and rear-wheel drive, what else are you going to buy?
Yes, there are hot hatchbacks that are faster, and some of them may even match the Stinger for luxury and equipment, but they're all substantially smaller. And yes, there are sedans and even liftbacks that match the Stinger's size, but for what this thing costs, none of them are as powerful or arguably as fun to drive. And yes, there are wagons and even performance SUVs that might offer a similar level of performance and are equally as practical, but none of them offer Kia's superb 7-year warranty and sheer ownership affordability.
So if you're shopping in the Stinger's budget and you want the same set of attributes and skills that the Stinger offers, you pretty much have to buy a Stinger. It's just incredibly fortunate that even when used, the Stinger is still an awesome thing. So should you buy one? Yeah, abso-bloody-lutely. Guys, look, thank you again so much for watching. What did you think of the Stinger? Let us know in those comments below. Oh, remember, can you please hit those like, subscribe, and bell buttons and share ReDriven as much as you can. Again, the more you do of that and the more you share ReDriven, the more of these videos we can make, and that'd hopefully be a bloody good thing. See you next time. Design-wise, what am I saying? Design-wise, there you go. Now, as far as wear and tear goes, this is this car, good start. This is this car's everyday car. But look, for top of that, there we go. I need to ask a favor. If you're enjoying this video, can you please hit the cars going past and ruining the take. There we go. There we go. Okay, now before we get into mechanically, what is this car doing? Again, just check out ReDriven.com. What is it? Cheat sheet. There you go, here we go.